Hey, this is Kevin Douglas. I'm playing the first match of a burn league in Modern. So we won the die roll, and I think we're going to keep this hand. It doesn't have any creatures, which would have been the strongest opening play, but it does have quite a bit of burn in hand. It has the lands to cast it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep. Probably start off with this Rift Bolt. I could lead off with Lava Spike, because that's the least interactive spell. Maybe we want to leave a Rift Bolt for interacting with some sort of combo. But I think on the play, I just want to be like mana efficient, and I think that's going to include casting this Rift Bolt turn 1. So we'll lead with Inspiring Advantage. Go ahead and F6 here. And so our opponent mulliganed to 6. We'll go ahead and see what they lead off with. It's going to be a tapped Hissing Quagmire. So that leads me to think it's going to be some sort of like green-black X type strategy. We could leave this Bloodstained Mire in case we drew like a Searing Blaze or something, but it doesn't seem quite right. Go ahead and fetch a Mountain, double Lava Spike. So hopefully they have some fetch lands, or they have to fetch into a shock. If not, you know, they have fetch land and, you know, go into a shock tapped or something just to slow them down. But yeah, there's a Tarmogoyf. So I was thinking about maybe firing off the Lightning Helix. Though getting 2 cards discarded maybe had me want to go Bolt. But in this case, since we drew a Rift Bolt, I'm going to go ahead and suspend that. And then wait to fire off a Lightning Bolt. So this might just be like green-black X the Rock. So there's Liliana. And I think since we're choked on mana, I'll probably discard this Lightning Helix so I can fire off Bolt next turn. Then even if we draw a land, that just makes Liliana look a little bad. I think we're winning the race, so I don't necessarily need the Lightning Helix. So if we draw 1 CMC spell next turn, we'll be able to empty our hand, make Liliana look kind of bad. If it's a land, we'll get to empty our hand. Only thing that would be bad is if we draw like a 2 CMC spell. Definitely want to do it to face. Go ahead and hit him with the Rift Bolt. So there's a Searing Blaze. This is going to get discarded to Liliana. Let's go ahead and say okay. They're going to discard a Catacombs. Get a Field of Ruin in. So we'll go ahead and fire off this Lightning Bolt right now. I mean, we didn't like totally have to, but there's a Scavenging Ooze. Fortunately, they don't have any creatures in their yard, neither do we. So they can't gain life right now. They might be able to discard something off of Liliana, but still only put them up to a 3. And most of our spells could deal with that. So unfortunately, we have a Searing Blaze. We're just going to wait to make her, make Liliana discard. And so we've had a couple of poor top decks in a row now. So hopefully most of our cards are live here, but now I think we're sort of in the territory that Searing Blaze is turned off. It's going to be a turn too slow. They're going to get him for 6 here, put us down to 5. Yeah, so that was a really unfortunate sequence of top decks. So I kind of feel like the opponent stole the game there a little bit. They have some big creatures, but against a deck that runs Liliana, I'm not a huge fan of Deflecting Palm because I often get stuck with it in my hand, waiting to use it before attacks. You know, 1 card in hand, and then they Liliana, and I just have to discard it. And it just kind of buys me a turn because now they won't attack with that creature, but it's hard to kind of catch these types of decks off guard with it. I could bring in Rest in Peace. Lavamancer might not be super great in this matchup, except we do get to eat our own creatures out of our graveyard. It might help keep Goyf a little bit smaller. Eidolon seems fine on the play. Searing Blaze might not be great. It might be worth bringing in a Rest in Peace for those. I'm going to go ahead and try that. Take them off Skoos, take them off, keep their Goyf small. Could get Abrupt Decayed, but definitely want to play first. So this looks like a much better hand. It might be like a little weak to like a Damnation, but we're going to get a lot of damage in, hopefully, with these Goblin Guides and Swift Spear. Get an Eidolon down turn 2. So I'm going to go ahead and fetch Mountain here. We do only have 1 other fetch land to find a white source. It's possible I want to go like both my white sources here in case they Field of Ruin again. And they don't take me off of white. I actually think I kind of want to do that. So they've got a Skoos on top. Unfortunately, that lines up with our hand pretty well. Because we do have a lot of creatures. So Thoughtseize isn't terrible here. It's going to deal 2 damage, which might be, you know, so they're going to get rid of one of the Eidolons. So we got another Goblin Guide. I think I want to run out the Eidolon here. I could go Swift Spear Goblin Guide. That'll get an extra 3. Lava Spike next turn. That'll make Swift Spear bigger than a Skoos if they play it next turn. I actually think I'm going to go Goblin Guide Swift Spear. That's the most immediate damage. And I think it plays into their Scoos next turn a little bit better than going Swift Spear or than Eidolon, because I'm going to have to cast Swift Spear and Goblin Guide into my Eidolon next turn before I attack. And we are doing ourselves a bit of damage here. And if we draw another 1 CMC burn spell, if they do decide to run out that Scoos, it's going to put a lot of pressure on them. So we like seeing fetch lands. They're going to have to find an upright green source here, probably. So they're going to go forests. So there's a Tarmogoyf. And that might actually be pretty good for us. So we're going to be able to run out this Lava Spike attack and play the Eidolon. So we'll deal 4 damage and then lock him out of playing any more spells. So I think this is going to lock it up. Yeah, so we got game 2. They're going to be on the play now. They did break serve, kind of a bummer still about that game 1. I think I still like having these rest in pieces. Like I said, the only other thing I might think about is the Deflecting Palm, and honestly, like I said, it's hard to catch a Liliana deck off guard with it. So with Thought Seizes, probably Inquisition to Kozilek, Collective Brutality. I don't feel great being on the draw, but hopefully we just have a good hand that's, you know, a couple land and then just a bunch of cheap spells, so we can empty our hand quickly. Opponent's taking a little bit more time to sideboard for this game 3. So maybe change things up a little bit to adjust to being on the play. So this is kind of one of those interesting hands. We only run 19 land. This has a couple of 1 CMC spells. Rest in Peace has the potential to be very good if we can play it. We are on the draw. We'll see some extra cards. I think since my opponent mulligan, I'm going to keep this. It's pretty risky keeping 1 land hand sometimes, but having something to do for the first couple turns if we don't draw that land, and then the strength of Rest in Peace, they mulligan to 5. Hopefully we just kind of get there and draw some land. And they don't have a turn 1 black source into like a discard spell, so that's good for us. We did not find our land, so hopefully we don't get super punished or anything. And hopefully this Goblin Guy doesn't draw them out of this mulligan they took. So there's Collective Brutality. Hopefully they don't have the black source to cast it though. They do have a Tarmogoyf. I might actually just waste this Lightning Bolt on that Tarmogoyf if we don't draw a land here. And I guess I did not need to actually bolt that Tarmogoyf. It wasn't going to be big enough to block. But I guess what I didn't want to happen was to get to their turn, and if they cast that Collective Brutality, and all of a sudden it's too big. I guess I could have held Bolt up just in case. So that could have been a waste of a resource. Here's a second Inspiring Advantage. We're going to be aggressive here and just go double Goblin Guide. We can always play that Rest in Peace later. So Tireless Tracker. They're going to Field of Ruin. Yeah, I did not think about that. But it looks like they're just going to concede there. They're pretty far behind. I'm kind of surprised they're a little bit. They're going to draw a Collective Brutality. Or they drew a Collective Brutality. They could have handled one of the Goblin Guides, gained 2 life. I guess we're still pressuring them pretty well. I mean, we have the other burn spells in hand, so they probably wasn't going to be much that they could do in the time frame they were looking at. Kind of being behind on tempo with missing their land drops and that mulligan to 5. So kind of lucked out there in game 3. We did miss a land drop ourselves and weren't super punished for keeping that 1 lane hand. But, you know, we had the information on the opponent mulligan, you know, to make that decision. So I kind of stand by it. But there's definitely been times that I've chosen to keep a 1 lane hand and been super punished. So a little bit of a gamble seemed to pay off.